September 1876. Western Missouri, a creek-bottom farm south of the railhead at Sedalia. By noon, a widow will lose everything her family built in 29 years, and a stranger nobody can name will give it all back and ride away before anyone learns who he was. Eli Barlow dies under his own wagon in March, when the axle gives way on the river road. The bank sends the letters in summer. By September, they bring the auction to the front yard. Hannah Barlow stands on her porch and watches strangers tie their horses to her dead husband's fence. 29 years that land has been in the family. Today it goes to the highest hand. Here is the story. The Barlow place is 160 acres of good creek-bottom ground that holds water through a dry July. Eli's father cleared it with an ox in 1847. Eli took it over in 1861, the year before the war burned half the county down, and he held on to it through all of it. He married Hannah when the fighting stopped, and they raised a boy on it, Samuel, 12 now. Eli ran the plow, pulled the calves, mended the long creek fence every spring. He carried the banknote in his head and paid it down a little every harvest, and every harvest it got a little smaller. Then, on a wet morning in March, the wagon axle breaks on the river road and the load comes down on him. He lives 2 days. The boy Samuel finds him. Eli is 48 years old. Hannah tries to hold the place together. She cannot do it alone. The hired man drifts off to the cattle towns. The corn comes in poor, the price drops, and the bank in Sedalia carries the note through the summer, then stops. A man rides out in July with the papers in his saddlebag. He is sorry, he says. He says the word twice. The farm will go to public auction in September. Anything the sale brings above the debt, the widow keeps, and everybody in the county knows the sale will not bring $1 above the debt. Saturday comes clear and cool. Horses and wagons line the creek road for a quarter mile. Neighbors in clean Saturday shirts stand in loose groups with their hats in their hands. Nobody talks loud. The auctioneer, a tired man named Coltrane, sets up on his wagon bed. He has sold a dozen farms this year and no longer enjoys it. The bankman stands beside him, ledger held against his chest. And there is another man, heavy, in a good town coat and flat black hat, rode up from Kansas City. He buys for a land syndicate that has been taking ruined farms all year, cheap, one at a time, the way a man picks low fruit off a branch. He stands apart. The neighbors do not look at him, and he does not seem to mind. Hannah Barlow comes down off the porch. Samuel walks beside her in his father's old coat, the sleeves rolled 3 times. They stop at the edge of the crowd, near the well, where they can see and not be in the middle of it. At the far end of the creek road, a tired horse comes up at a walk and stops on the shoulder. A man swings down, slow, like the saddle had been under him a long time. Long dark duster, dark slouch hat pulled low, a short sandy beard. There is a weariness in the way he stands, the way he keeps the crowd in front of him and the open road at his back. He does not come up into the yard. He stays by his horse and he watches. Nobody knows him. Nobody looks twice. Coltrane opens at 10 o'clock sharp. He reads the legal description off his paper. 160 acres, the house, the barn, the corn crib, the well, and the creek frontage. He reads it flat, the way a man reads something he has read too many times in 1 year. "All right," Coltrane says, "we'll start the bidding." The yard goes quiet. The neighbors look at their boots. Every man standing there could use 160 acres of creek-bottom ground. Not one of them lifts a hand. You do not bid against a widow on her own front yard, not in this county, not while she is standing by her own well watching you do it. It is the oldest rule out here, and nobody ever wrote it down because nobody ever had to. Coltrane knows the rule. He waits anyway. He has to. Come on now. Good ground, good water. Creek runs through it year-round. Nothing. A crow somewhere out in the corn stubble. The wind in the well rope. Then the man from Kansas City lifts one finger off his vest. $400. It is not an offer, it is a burial. The debt on the Barlow place is $600 and change. $400 means the bank eats the loss and the widow gets nothing, and the syndicate gets 160 acres for the price of a saddle horse. Coltrane looks at the bankman. The bankman looks down into his ledger and does not look up. I have 400, Coltrane says. His voice has gone tired. $400 once. Hannah Barlow does not move. Her face does not change. Samuel's hand closes around his mother's arm above the elbow and holds on. Wherever you're watching from, drop it in the comments. I'd like to see how far this story travels. 400 twice. Coltrane lifts his hand for the third and last call. 600. The voice comes from the back, from the creek road. Every head in the yard turns at once. The man in the dark duster has not come off his horse. He has one hand raised, easy, loose, the way a man raises a hand to answer a question he already knows the answer to. Coltrane squints down the road. Say that again. $600. The man from Kansas City turns all the way around. He looks at the rider on the shoulder of the road. Something moves across his face. He has bought a dozen farms this year and never once had to work for one of them. 700, the Kansas City man says. 8, says the man at the road. He has not raised his voice. 9, 1,000. The Kansas City man's jaw works side to side. $1,000 is real money. It is more than the ground will bring in a bad year, and every year out here lately has been a bad year. He looks at the bankman like the bankman might help him. The bankman has finally lifted his eyes off the ledger. The Kansas City man folds. That's all for me, he says, and he says it loud, the way a man says a thing he wants to sound like it was his own idea. Coltrane is not squinting anymore. He is standing up very straight on his wagon bed. I have $1,000, he calls. 1,000, bid from the road. He lifts his hand. 1,000 once. The yard does not breathe. The boy with the cider cart has set down his jug. 1,000 twice. Hannah Barlow is staring down the creek road at a man she has never seen before in her life. Her mouth has come open a little. She does not know it has. Sold, Coltrane says. Sold for $1,000. The man comes up the creek road into the yard. He walks the way a man walks when the hard part is already done, still keeping one eye on the road behind him. The neighbors part to let him through without being asked, though not one of them yet knows why their backs have gone cold. He does not go to the auctioneer first. He goes to the bankman. Cash, he says. He takes a thick fold of bills out of the inside of the duster. He counts it onto the lowered tailgate of the wagon. He counts slow, in the open, in front of 60 witnesses. The bankman counts it again with shaking fingers. $1,000. It covers the debt. It covers the back interest. It covers the auctioneer's fee. And there is money left on the wood when he is done. What's left over goes to the widow, the man says. Today, in writing, before you get on your horse. The bankman writes the receipt standing up, using the side of the wagon. Then the man turns to Coltrane. You've got the deed. Yes, sir. I can have it drawn up this afternoon, down at the courthouse in town. Draw it now, off the back of your wagon. You've done it that way before. Coltrane has done it that way before. He gets his deed forms from the wagon box and fills it in standing up, the wagon bed for a desk, the wind trying to take the paper. He gets down to the line for the buyer's name. Who do I put here? The man looks across the yard. Hannah Barlow is still standing by the well. Samuel is still holding her arm. Neither of them has come one step closer. They do not understand yet what they have been watching. Put Hannah Barlow, the man says. Coltrane's pen stops on the paper. Sir? Hannah Barlow. It's her farm. Put her name on the line. He could have ridden on, with the open road at his back, and men in 3 states who'd have given a year's wages to know which road he was on that morning. He could have bought the ground and kept it, the way almost anybody would have. Instead, he counted $1,000 onto a stranger's tailgate and put a widow's name on the deed. Coltrane finishes writing. He climbs down off the wagon and carries the deed across the yard himself, and the whole crowd watches him walk it the whole way. He puts it in Hannah Barlow's hands. She reads it. She reads it again. Her hand starts to shake, and Samuel takes the paper from her before it can fall. "I can't," Hannah says. She is looking past Coltrane at the man by the horse. "Mister, I can't ever pay this back. I don't have it. I will never have it. It isn't a loan. Then I can't take it. I can't take it from a stranger." Have you ever had someone hand you back the one thing you were certain you had lost? It takes the breath clean out of you. It takes a while before your own hands will believe it. The man crosses the yard to her. Up close, he is younger than the hard life on him makes him look, and there is something tired behind his eyes that has nothing to do with the road. The crowd has gone dead silent. Even the wind seems to drop. "Mrs. Barlow." "Yes, your husband. He held with either side in the war." Hannah shakes her head. "He just wanted to be left alone to farm. They burned us out anyway, twice." The man is quiet a moment. "So did mine," he says. "Burned us out, took everything we had, and called it order." He looks at the boy a long moment, at Samuel in his dead father's coat. "This isn't charity, and it isn't a loan. Call it a debt somebody else owed you, paid late. You keep the farm, you bring the corn in, and you let that boy grow up on his own ground, the way he ought to. The way some of us didn't get to." Samuel looks up from the deed in his hands. "What's your name, mister?" he asks. "I want to know it, so I can tell people who did this." The man is already turning, already walking back toward the creek road. "Tell them a fellow stopped for the auction," he says over his shoulder. But the bank man has been staring at that face for a full minute now. He has a folded paper in his own coat, the kind of paper that hangs in every depot and post office from Missouri to Texas, with a face printed on it and a number under the face. And the bank man's voice comes out of him before he can stop it, low and shaking. "My God," the bank man says, to nobody, to everybody, to the whole quiet yard. "That's Jesse James." The man in the duster stops walking. He does not turn. He just stands there, his back to 60 men, any one of whom could earn 5 years' wages by raising the alarm. And not one of them does. 60 men, with the most wanted man in Missouri 10 steps away and his back turned, and every last one keeps his mouth shut and his hands still, because they had all just watched what kind of man he was, whatever the poster said. You do not sell out a man who just gave a widow back her ground. That is the oldest rule out here too, and nobody ever had to write it down either. Jesse James lifts one hand, the same easy hand he raised to bid, and he keeps on walking. He gets up on his tired horse. He turns it onto the creek road and points it away from the railhead, away from the towns, and the dust comes up behind him and hangs there in the cool September light. Hannah Barlow stands in her own yard, on her own ground, holding nothing, because her son is holding the deed. She watches the road until the rider is gone. Then she stands there a while longer, after he is gone. Hannah Barlow brought the corn in, that first fall with Samuel up on the wagon, and 2 neighbor men who would not take her money. The crop was thin again. It did not matter. The ground was hers. No note on it. No man from the bank coming up the creek road in July. She farmed it the rest of her life. Samuel grew up on his own ground, just as the stranger said he should, and married a girl from the next farm in that same front yard. He buried his mother in 1901 on the rise above the creek, next to his father, and kept the place after her, and his children kept it after him. 160 acres, never sold again, never mortgaged again. Jesse James rode on that morning, and within 6 years he was dead, shot in the back of his own house for that same reward money by a man who called him a friend. He never once spoke of the auction on the creek. The bankman told the story for years, in low voices, the way a man tells a thing that still sits strange with him. That is most of how it ever got out at all. $1,000, one Saturday morning, one hand raised easy off a creek road. Hannah brought in better than 20 harvests. Her son brought in 40 more after her. The corn off that bottom land fed people who never once heard the story, paid for 2 weddings in that front yard, a new barn roof, a headstone up on the rise. All of it grew out of a deed an auctioneer filled in standing up, the wind pulling at the paper off a wagon. The farm is still there. If you drive the back roads 12 miles south of where the old railhead used to be and turn off at the creek, you will see the barn first and then the house. And inside the house, framed on the wall beside the window, there is the original deed. September 1876, 160 acres conveyed to Hannah Barlow. Down at the bottom, in the auctioneer's careful hand, is the line he added before he carried it across the yard that morning. Purchased and conveyed the same day, at no charge to the grantee, by request of the buyer. The buyer's name is not written anywhere on it. He would not let them write it down. The afternoon sun comes through that window and lies across the framed deed a while every day, then moves on past the glass. And the corn still comes up every spring on 160 acres that the most hunted man in Missouri bought and gave away, on his way out of the only county that ever kept his secret. If this story reached you, do me a favor, pass it on. And subscribe if you haven't yet. There are more of these coming.